So I found that being in the parlor and moving my body so much, working so much, and being kind of this real dominant energy and holding a lot of space for men, in the same breath, I was just like, where is the fucking hot, strong, dominant lesbian that's just going to do exactly this to me once a week? A lot of the time, it's unsafe for us to be in our bodies and to feel in our bodies because, we're traumatized. Everyone's got their own kind of wounding that just puts them up in their head. And then we have anxiety, and then we have depression, and then we have rumination, and then we have controlling things. And, it means that we can be less in that space of trust in our bodies, in our intuition, because that's been taken away from us because our boundaries have been overstepped. It was just very,
When you were 14,
yeah.
weren't you scared? I hadn't even kissed anyone when I was 14. I was so scared of all that
I
stuff.
mean, I felt pressure. I felt like it was like it was like trendy. I felt like it was just what I had to do
Yeah.
because who are social workers, who are psychologists, who are
Mm,
mothers, all of these people who are in these huge roles of service, and
mm.
they actually just really want a place where they can unapologetically receive.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
actually have the experience of just fully having the permission to receive and to surrender and for something to just be about
Mm.
them.
Something that I would add to like why I feel like this work is very uh, transformational, very healing, we never really get um, touched in these ways when there's just zero expectation of us. We don't have to give anything back, that we're not like, we're not being treated like a sexual object for the gratification of a partner. You really are, as a practitioner, in service, and it's all for the benefit and the healing and the enjoyment of the client. And so for the first time, for some of these women, first time ever, they're able to just relax and surrender and enjoy being touched in a way where, it's deeply respectful and consensual, but also like delicious and exciting and, and all of these things, and safe because, it's a held space. There's nothing being expected or demanded of them in return. They don't have to be in their heads thinking like, oh, what's actually going on? Is this crossing a boundary? Do I need to give something back? Like, generally in even just a really beautiful, safe sexual scenario, there's a back and forth, and there's still a little bit of like, you know potentially being in our heads and processing what's happening, and then what needs to happen next, or what we're planning on doing next, or how is this feeling, how are they feeling about what I'm doing, and there's just more going on. So it's really cool to just like be in, you know this deeply receptive, surrendered space, and know that you're held, know that every expression that comes out is okay. And I think that that in itself can be so nourishing and healing for people. And then, to kind of expand on that, something my clients get is, practice at sort of saying no, or knowing their boundaries, or knowing that it is okay to like press pause or stop or change tact, or it's just something that a lot of people don't do in their day-to-day lives or in their sex lives, is kind of practicing with their no or their boundaries, or really exploring consent, for just the way that we've been programmed and conditioned, as women, to believe like our pleasure isn't as important. We're not worthy of it, we're not deserving, it's not something to prioritize, it's a luxury. Basically our pleasure is a total fucking luxury, and we shouldn't expect it or feel as though it's our birthright, which it actually is. And so that's already a big deal for someone to prioritize their pleasure, for a woman to prioritize their pleasure. Like, and then if you think about how absolutely like uncommon, it's so normalized and common for a man to go and have a rub and tug or see a sex worker. And it's like understood that like that is a need, they are getting a need met. It's way less common for a woman to do that. And so, the fact that they're I mean, it's just real like pleasure activism, really. It's political as fuck to like go and be like, my pleasure is so important that I'm going to pay money and I'm going to go and like do this thing purely for my own pleasure. Like, that's powerful. Just roll my eyes so much, because I can't even tell you how many times like people ask me like, oh, they find out what I do for work, or they get me on their podcast, and they're like, all right, give me your like top 3 best tips and techniques for like making a woman come, or like women's pleasure or something. And they want they want techniques, they want moves, they want to know, press this spot and rub 3 times this way and then spit. Like, it's just, and I'm like, it is not about technique, honestly. Like, I know it sounds like a wanky answer, and probably they're rolling their eyes right back at me because they're like, bitch, just give me the clickbait. Like, give me the fucking, like, quick magic bullet, one size fits all solution that we all, are after in this culture of instant gratification. And I'm like, there isn't one. Like, fucking, yeah, get embodied, get intuitive, like, listen, slow the fuck down. Like, it's not about technique at all. It's about all of the things you just spoke about: context, environment, safety, energy, like consent, respect. Oh my God. Anyway, so
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
I love that because the thing is, once all those things are there, you can touch any part of the body, including the pussy, and it will feel like you've got the technique
yes.
100%.